All right. This is really extraordinary. August 31st of 2022. I would say about exactly 6 years later. Because this was the time when I rolled out the jelly juice. I mean, it was around that time because October really was the actual time. But the development, the research, all that stuff was a few months before October. And so back in 2016, when I realized all the different binders and antibiotics were bringing up the demons, and then we were trying to figure out how to stuff those demons back again, that was then what developed the group or business page called Candida, Weaponized Fungus, Mainstream Mutancy, because that was one of the hugest demons in my whole life. And it started in the 90s. And so prior to me developing the J juice, I was drinking a whole bunch of kombucha, which was feeding the demons, but I didn't know how to deal with the demons. And so I kept trying to look for remedies. And then that's when I got caught up in the Candida world. That's why that's the name of the initial group was Candida, because that was my demon. It was the yeast infections. Holy shit. Okay, so now we're in, fast forward to 8/31/2022, and yesterday dealt with the bladder infection, got through that. Now I'm feeling the yeast infection. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm eating. I'm feeding it. Oh, I feel the energy. It's not painful, and it's not something that I'm going to go and look for some kind of remedy for, but you feel the energy, you feel the pain. It's not really painful. It's more of energy. It's like a strengthening energy, like it seriously is. And it's going to feel different once you open up your alimentary canal and you know you can release, and both sides of your alimentary canal are open. Then whatever food and whatever food that is feeding those demons within, they'll eat, they'll get their full fill, and then you'll release them on some level. And how that is, well, your body has a way of releasing Candida. Okay? I'm not actively doing anything, for that. I just, when I pee and I poo and I whatever, that's when everything's going to come out. Okay? So I'm not messing with that biome. And so when we were using colloidal silver, we were using garlic oil, we were using apple cider vinegar, we were using even the J juice, we were using every single remedy out there under the sun. Some of you got some relief, others of you were dealing with either allergic reactions or antibiotic resistance. And so the J juice didn't work, nothing worked, you still had the issues, so of course you were disenchanted. Some of you were able to get cured with whatever we were using. You were using natural remedies or my juice. And so at some point, and I don't know when, maybe even right now in this COVID era, everything that we used, the remedies against that came up when we first initially brought the demons to surface, well, they're going to come back, and some of you are experiencing that. And so now you have a chance in this COVID era to deal with these demons differently. You got to sit with it. You got to feed it. If you haven't opened up your alimentary canal, you're going to have to. You're going to have to blow your nose. Some of you are going to have to rustle up the demons again and do a few saltwater flushes and get off the J juice and deal with the energy, and it will be painful. You'll use whatever you got to use to lessen it. You will have other issues. The thing that was my nemesis was that pneumonia. And so I'm seeing now the strata and layers of memories, biological memories that are coming back, just like the 70s and 80s are coming back again, at least with the bell bottoms and the banana clips. But you are seeing now the strata of memories that you have pushed deep into your system with antibiotics. Now in this world, it's coming back again, and you have to deal with it differently. If you don't, you'll use a stronger antibiotic until you antibioticize yourself out of existence. And so now, if you have opened up your alimentary canal and you know that you have to blow your nose, you have to poop, you know how to work your sphincter and whatever to get everything out, then when you do feel the energetic pain or whatever, it's not really that much painful on my end, but when you do feel the energy, it'll be more of a strength than a weakness. If you set your life up for it where you're not out and about hanging out with people, because even right now I could hang out with people if I wanted to, I still feel the energy. But right now I don't want to hang out with them. I just want to type, and I want to feel what this feels like. I want to sit with this energy, because that's the power. That is the power of facing your childhood. That is the power of facing the demons that plagued you 30 years ago. Okay? When you're going back biologically 30 years ago, and you're now finally able to look at it in a mature way and then also mature your own body without aging, that is a power like no other. Where you're in a different mind space, you're in a different intellectual space, you're in a different everything space. That's what's such a crazy thing within the last month. This all happened within the last fucking month, you guys. What triggered the bladder infection yesterday? It was, I had 4 shots of espresso that day or the day before. And so when you have 4 shots of espresso, that's like a coffee, right? That's coffee. That's the body bringing up adrenaline. That adrenaline will energize your body. When your body gets energized, then it forces those demons to wake up. That's why people don't like coffee. And that's why they stay away from coffee, because they get the heart palpitations, they get whatever symptoms. But that's the coffee bringing up your predisposed issues that want you to heal, and then you stop drinking coffee. So when you're overweight or obese and you drink coffee and it's bringing up all these different things that you don't want to feel, well, then you're like, oh God, I got to get off the coffee. The coffee is causing this. And so they get off their coffee. Now their body is back to being sluggish. They don't have the energy to energize those beasts out of your body. So then those beasts are still inside your body, replicating, getting stronger and stronger. And so then you have no chance to release the demons, because the coffee was the energy. A little bit of the salt was the energy. Okay? That brought things up to surface that needed to be released, that was laying dormant within, that you have squelched and just taken away the power for the body to protect itself. And so then when you're out there with everybody, right, you're not feeling anything, and you've taught your body that it needs to stay away from this food, this food, this food, because it's energizing the evolutionary sequences, then you're just feeding the beasts, and they're just munching, replicating, fornicating, replicating, inside the body. There is no release process, really. And are you going to want to bring up the demons again? Because you have to go to church, because you have to go to your job, because you have to go hang out with a bunch of people all the time. You have to take care of your kid. And so in the meantime, the beasts are getting bigger inside, and they are getting more organized. And then one day you don't survive when they finally become so organized that your vital organs, which may hold predisposed issues, doesn't survive the energetic pulses and the energetic flashes and the energetic who knows what. I mean, and so people do set themselves up to fail because they want to keep up with their friends, the family, the jobs, which I get with the jobs, but I'll tell you, people are working themselves to death. That's what I said, that, a job, stop killing yourself with your jobs, because let me tell you, they will replace you so quick. Okay? You are replaceable at your job. Your family and you are not, you are not replaceable in your family. There's only one mother in a family that has that has a relationship with that child or that husband. There's only one mother, one wife, and one family. Unless you're in a polygamous household, then that's a whole different story. Okay, but if there's only me, and I don't take care of myself, and I have a dog and a husband, I'm not replaceable. I mean, you could try, but let me tell you, anyone out there doesn't have half the background that I have to help deal with all the things that go on, in this world here. And who knows, if my husband ever replaces me, if anything happened to me, he'll take on some drama. There is not a lot to choose from out there. People are in their own drama of relationships, past relationships and present relationships, but they also have their own health drama. And so, yeah, I'm irreplaceable in my family. Because, if he took on somebody else, there would be eventual health issues that he would have to deal with. There'd be eventual other issues that my husband would have to deal with if he took on somebody else out there who is on the decline with a whole bunch of drama. Okay? So you have to realize that you are irreplaceable. You are irreplaceable, which means that you must face those demons. Your friends, your family, they depend upon you, but if you work yourself to death and you play yourself to death, then you're gone. But I guess if you're gone, they'll find somebody else, or they figure out on their own, but then you died for them. That doesn't make sense. And so it's kind of a weird thing. It's like you take yourself away from being the one that they depend upon. You save yourself, and they pass away because you're not around to guide them and feed off of. Well, that's not your problem, is it? If they are dependent on you so much where they die because you're not around, well, it's like you or them when you think about it. That's like, that's, what is it? Everybody knows, Leonard Cohen, shit, the Scorpions, Unleash the Beast. There's so many songs where it is about you or them. And if you want to be there for them in the times that are important, then you have to be there for yourself. You got to be there for yourself, and you have to come first. Everybody has to come first. If everybody came first, then we'd all take care of ourselves. We wouldn't have to be like, oh, you're selfish because you think you came first before me. Well, fuck yeah. And then you should come first before me. My husband should come first before me when it comes to things that would require him to be around. Okay, I would not want my husband to sacrifice himself for me. If he's going to sacrifice himself, it's for him and his desires. I have my own protective measures in case anything happens. But he needs to take care of himself for himself, not for me. I need to take care of myself for myself, not for him. Though the, added bonus is that that I can also be an addition, enhancement to his life. But no, I don't live for him. He doesn't live for me. We both live for ourselves, and we have to find a happy medium. But that's not the way it is out there. Everyone was like, oh, I'm for everybody else and forget me. Nope. Once you forget about yourself, so will everybody else, because you won't be around anymore. And so I'm writing my background is my foreground right now, while I'm dealing with a yeast infection that I'm just feeding and dealing with and feeling the energy. And so, yeah, I mean, you'll get a good real quick snapshot of the background to give me some credibility, so you know kind of where I came from. Not too much nitty-gritty detail, because that's for another book, but you'll know kind of where I came from, and then why I'm telling you, you've got to deal with the pain, because if you don't, you'll keep revisiting it, just like we're revisiting history. Okay, with this divide and conquer, the rise of civilizations, the fall of civilizations, the whole divide and conquer, and then unification happened. The Spanish Inquisition is going to happen with America. We're only 300 something years old. We are acting like the Spanish Inquisition without burning people at the stakes. But we're doing it online. But now we have a little bit of evolution and a little bit of maturity, because we have now government agencies that are saying, okay, I don't care if you don't agree with that person. I don't care if your politics are different, but you do not do vigilante justice. You keep your hands off of other people, and you stay within your spheres, and you don't try to convert somebody else. And you are as polite as hell to everyone around you on Facebook or out there. Because first of all, you don't know people doing it out there, so you don't want anybody's face out there. But on Facebook, you keep it chill. You keep it chill. So I'm giving you a little bit of the background, my background, so that way you then see a line of thought that will then give credibility to why then I'm going to then mention about the history of, a little bit, wrap up the history of the world, but not too much in detail to bore you, but enough where you understand the Rosicrucians do run the world. And how do I prove that? Well, Silicon Valley, and then all the religions, and then the Ouroboros, the medical holistic system, why I'm advocating potential immortality, because we have never really seen immortality. We only know immortality based upon antiquity, and we don't see the gods that were immortal. They're not on Facebook saying, hey, I was a god back in Sumerian times and I'm still here, I'm immortal. No, we just see statues. And so immortality back in antiquity is not the same thing as in today, of the potential of today. And so that's going to lay the groundwork for then where my thought process is coming from. And it had to come from a very avant-garde background, one of which could be controversial. And then you see then where the MK Ultra and where that came from, which is the CIA programming of the LSD brainwashing. And then there's different modalities that can be implemented to program archetypes. And so that's where Silicon Valley comes in, as far as California. Bioengineering, genetic engineering, same thing, engineering, cultural engineering, manufactured revolutions, giving you the think tanks, giving you all the different conspiracy stuff. So that way you're going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, totally distracted. And in the meantime, the frequencies are changing. Even Charles Manson said, before actually the news anchor cut him off, he was saying that, yeah, they're going to heat up the atmosphere with a machine. And then the news anchor cut him off. And that was back in the 70s. When you're actually listening to all the Manson interviews and he's just going off on his intellectual tirades, you're just like, holy shit, he was totally programmed by them. And then also was probably made to forget certain things and then thrashed so that way they could, develop a real, rebel, okay? But even him, even he knew that there was stuff going on, okay? So yeah, with the archetypes and all of that, and then programming people. And so you got to realize that everything has been programmed. How much of history is true? Well, just look at today. We have the movers and shakers in Hollywood. We have the movers and shakers in politics, religion, and science. We've had people that are thrust out in front of you, giving you things to believe in, giving you people to pray to, giving you a text, a grimoire, just, stuff to study and then be compartmentalized in to then do a specific job. And then eventually supernova out. Okay? And so then the whole thing with immortality is saying that, okay, well, we don't have to die from predispositions. We have to face the pain, get off the antibiotics. That's what causes the monsters to develop and then be programmed. That's the archetypes. Okay? Is the high stress and specific programming like music, art, history, science, math. Okay, that's all programming, alphanumeric programming. And then you have the high stress of the testing, competing, and all of that. And so then this is the society you live in. And it was reinforced by the antibiotics, because the antibiotics kept you in a specific state of existence, like a cured existence, where you can still keep innovating the petri dish with information that was already given to you, and then you reconform it or reconfigure it and develop something new or whatever they're expecting, and then you pass away and you suffer along the way. And we're seeing the suffering right now. And people react to suffering with things that are destroying them even more so they suffer more in the future. And now I'm saying, okay, if you're going to suffer once, maybe suffer twice and 3 times, and then hopefully that's the end of it and you still stay alive. Okay? The death process is like rebirth, but it's horrible. Because what are you birthing into? The death world? If you're going to suffer from reproduction, suffer from maturity and learning the hard way, okay? And then you don't say you plateau, but you keep evolving and the suffering will be less and less. And even right now with the new variants are coming up and all these different therapies that are being put out there that are FDA approved, but there's absolutely no human experience. Okay, will that affect you down the road when you finally faced all your demons? Probably not. You'll blow your nose, you'll cough out a bunch of stuff, but we'll see after dealing with a stupid yeast infection, how then the fall and the winter and then next year is going to affect me with all these different viral mutations. Because when viruses mutate, it's people mutating. And it's new information, it's new environments that you have to adapt to. But see, when you're home more than not, you'll have a better return on your investment because you're not then assimilating to everybody. When you're out there all the time, you're assimilating to people, taking on their antibiotics, taking on their immunotherapies indirectly. And so your body then assimilates that so it doesn't evolve. So when you're home more than not, and then you go out and bring in new information, you'll actually get the benefit of waking up the demons that were put to sleep through your interaction with somebody else. So you don't necessarily have to take the antibiotics directly to have a cured effect. You can just hang out with someone who's taking all the antibiotics and all the drugs and the immunotherapies, and you get that herd immunity, because that exists. Okay? But people don't believe in that because they have so many predisposed issues that even if they were told there's herd immunity, their demons still couldn't be cured. And so then it had to come out because it was evolving. And so that's where the disease came from. And people were like, well, nothing works. You guys are causing all the disease. No. But in reality, you're the one that holds it within. You have to face your demons. And it will be catalyzed and triggered by the viruses, other people, environments, food, water, even salt and water, sugar. It'll be anything that your body is dying to evolve to is going to be triggered by whatever. And then when you do get triggered, it could be by milk, it could be by meat, it could be by the J juice, it could be by a therapy, it could be by, a crowd of people or your parents or your friends or your family. And then you'll be blaming everybody. Oh my God, it was a meat, it was milk. And that's where all the blame game comes from, because people were not prepared to deal with evolution when it wanted to happen. And then you try to make correlation equals causation, which is why so many activists are out there blaming something different. See, if I wanted to, I could blame the coffee. The coffee woke up the demon. Well, of course it did. It's energetic, but it needed to. I'm feeling this. I welcomed yesterday the bladder infection. I'm welcoming today the yeast infection that really isn't that bad. It's just, I just feel it. I feel it, but it's not painful. But I feel the energy. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And when you can look at your symptoms as it's amazing and you can sit with it and just sit with it, that right there is the power above no other power. And then worlds open up. Then you're not in fear of viruses or symptoms. And then you're not going to be taking anything medical or holistic. And then you'll have a different way of relating to your job, to anything that you want to do. You will have a focus. You will have, oh my God, such a different outlook that you won't even really understand where I'm coming from because you haven't experienced it yet. Okay? There is so much power in experience. We are in the age of experience. It's not the age of information. That was, up to 1984, up to like 2020, mid-20s, not 2020, 2010. Now we're in the age of experience. And in the age of experience, you're going to watch everyone experience things in a different way. And some you're going to characterize as bad, some you'll characterize as good. And you're seeing that everyone has their judgment on pain or any other kind of energy. And so that's where all the religions come from. That's where all the politics and science come from. And so as we're in the age of experience, and you see what then the outcome is when those that want to be all cured and, play the love game and be anti-New World Order, anti-everything, and you see where they're going to end up. Not only angry, but dead at some point. But as on their way out the door, they'll be screaming and crying about how the government and everybody is out to get them. Or, who knows whatever else, other dramas in their life. Or they're stuck in their addictions, alcohol, drugs, and sex. And in their communes and cults, doing all the tantric sex, doing all the drugs, ayahuasca and cannabis and whatever. And so we're in the age of experience. Now you can see how these religions manifested and were developed. And the kind of money, the amount of money in the health and wellness world and in politics, religion, and science. And then you can see how much money you spent on food, remedies, self-help groups. Oh God, you name it. And then you see how humans have been commodified and their suffering has been commodified. And so it's eye-opening. But you got to get to that point where you can sit with it and see it for what it is. And it's not something scary or something to stop. But you got to set up your life for it. I mean, if you have to be somewhere, at 11 o'clock and you're dealing with yeast infection, you're like, well, shit, I need to take a remedy so I can stop feeling this way so I can go and do that presentation without being uncomfortable. Well, then you just sealed your fate. And if you get addicted to your job, which is throwing you so much money, and you love spending the money and you keep wanting to do your job, of course, then the next time you get that yeast infection, it'll be even stronger. You'll get a stronger antibiotic. And that's when the train left the station. You're done. Because are you really going to sit with now pain that's 10 times more than it was a couple years ago when you first initially felt it? No. And then everything else goes downhill from there. So if you have an antibiotic for your yeast infection, then that's going to affect every other organ thereafter. And so it's a chain reaction. Any kind of antibiotic you take for cancer disease and chronic illness, it's a chain reaction, and that antibiotic will affect everything in your body. And then this is where the chain reaction of diseases happen. And this is where the diseases mutate. And then more antibiotics, more remedies, and then you get caught. Then you get addicted to the health and wellness world and all their addictions and their drugs, and then in this environment, forget it. You won't survive. And so it's simple. You have to make a choice. All right, bye.